Hey, it's DrRic. This is a tutorial on what to do for cold and flu season. It's not here yet, but it's coming up. In fact, in about 10 days, most schools will start having their first day of school. High school, grade school, kindergarten, preschool. And that is where everything is going to blossom. Because when you're stuck in a classroom with one sneezing kid, doesn't matter what age, you're going to inhale that sooner or later in that 45 to 50 minutes of listening to your teachers. So if you're in daycare or if you have your child in daycare, that's even worse. So if this is the first time you're finding me though, hit the subscribe button down below and the alert button to find out when I do new videos. So if you are, or if you do come in contact with a bunch of sneezy, coughy, feverish kind of people, avoid. I think that even in church, if you go to church, you don't have to shake hands, just about 3 feet. So a yard to a yard and a half of distance, usually they won't cough in your face, they'll do kind of like that, but you're out of the blast range. Usually particles, particulates, especially if they're under high velocity, like they usually falls down to here. So I usually turn my head, hold my breath, and just not shake hands. Don't take anything. If they offer you stuff, don't hold that stuff. So I think that's one of the ways, just like in hospitals, that we wash hands. We wear masks, we glove up, we gown up to prevent spread of infection. Well, people in school don't usually do that. In college, they're probably okay. But daycare, preschool, kindergarten, elementary, and high school, some people just are really sick, or some people just don't know their hygiene. So anyway, the one things that you can do before you have to go to the doctor's office for an evaluation are control your hydration. I like tea. This is green tea, Gyokuru Japanese tea. I think it's really immune boosting. I got this place at the Stratford Square Mall. I usually buy it at Adagio or David's Tea. Happen to find a new seller, and I asked where she gets her supplies from. She calls directly to Japan, and it turns out to be pretty decent. So Gyokuru is usually my Monday tea, but I always embrace tea to boost immunity, and that's what we're going to talk about this stuff. Mushrooms boost immunity, but we'll get to that in a second. The other things you can do, aside from hydration, lots of fluid. Now this is sparkling water. You might not like it, but hydration. And I did do a video on airborne, so check out the unboxing video I did. This is just to give you palatability. If you can't force the fluids down, this gives it a little bit of flavor, so you can try to put down about 12 ounces every hour. Yes, you'll be peeing a lot. Hopefully you can cut it at dinner time and not pee all night, but you need hydration. When you have hydration, that means the blood vessels are full of water, intravascular space is great, white blood cells can get to where they have to get to fight. The other thing to do, if the white blood cells want to fight, you got to support them, so don't eat crappy food. I mean, I tell all my patients don't eat crappy food anyway. If you want to beat the odds of me having to give you prescription medicines, or you having to see my colleagues for procedures, try to stay away from sugar, sugar in food, sugar substitutes. Sugar substitutes are better than sugar. See my video on sugar addiction, I think it's called. But they do, most of the sugar substitutes, even though they give you no fructose, they will destroy your lining. Yeah, I know, I keep on saying, cut back, cut back, cut back. But we're a country of excess crap. And it's led us to excess disease. So I would say, at least during the time that you're sick, try to hold off from dairy. Yeah, I don't like dairy. I think it's just too heavy. Try to hold off from alcohol. Try to get more fluids in. Try to hold off from very complex foods, creamy foods. Stick with easy foods that are easy to digest, and just enough, especially if you have a sickness but it's more digestive, like diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. You want to stay away from very complex foods, and you actually are supposed to be on 24 hours of liquid, then 24 hours of the brat diet, bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast, and then advancing to smoothie or soft stuff, and then whole food after that. But I would avoid processed food, fast food, high sugar foods, alcohol, dairy, and usually that's about it. And that decrease on the total calories per day. And yeah, you're going to be wiped out because you're not going to get the usual fuel that you need, but honestly, if you're getting 1,200 calories a day, that's, I think, all you need. I take about 1,500 and that's it. And I get by even with an aggressive workout. So I just think that we're too used to drinking and eating too much crap in the United States. So if you take care of hydration, take care of your fuel source, not overload the gut, give it a break, and you take care of your sleep, those are 3 things that you might be able to turn around automatically. So if it gets worse or if you're really severe, call 911, go to the hospital, call your doctor on call. But everybody knows I love supplements. I love supplements because I think they help. And I think that most of my patients, and I've proved it with blood testing, most of my patients are deficient. Whether it's magnesium, vitamin D, B12, if you're MTHFR deficient, you can't even get that stuff in as far as methylation, most of my patients are deficient. Omega-3 oil, grain, or fiber, let me just call it fiber. So here is my plethora of 3 things. I usually rely on 3. So the big 3 are usually quercetin. Quercetin, I think you can think of it, and unfortunately this was not reviewed by Consumer Labs, so I'm just kind of going off the cuff and going with a company I like. But quercetin, it actually almost has an antibiotic bioflavonoid. So it gives the building blocks that white blood cells need to work better. And it does push a couple of the bacteria over into death faster. Quercetin, I do 1 capsule 3 times a day, so immune boosting. The other thing I love is astragalus. Astragalus is a root. And astragalus, Nature's Way is nice. Again, this wasn't evaluated by, I love Consumer Labs as a neutral party to evaluate supplements. They didn't have astragalus on here, but astragalus my always go-to. So a lot of these things are old, and not old, I've had these for a while. I usually just break them out when it comes time to get sick, or if I'm getting exposed. But astragalus is my go-to, quercetin is my another one. These are old tongue blades. They're from the root too. And if you put I got this before Whole Foods converted over in Wheaton. You can't find this anymore, but these are my astragalus tongue blades. You can get some soup, or you can put it in your tea and get some of the benefits of the astragalus. But I mean, I would just take astragalus at high dose. 1 capsule 3 times a day. So the benefits to astragalus, supposedly also antioxidant, but it also boosts immune system. But the biggest thing that boosts the immune system, it's gonna be the red reishi mushroom. This stuff is awesome. So mushrooms are used more in Chinese medicine, but reishi mushroom seems to have this profound effect. Reishi, you can find it, you can't really eat them like you can with portobello or other mushrooms that you go hunting for, but there's something about that mushroom that that gives the mushrooms in general really boost the immune system. In fact, this is I had this as a leftover on my last video I did, and I suggested I was going to talk about it. So this was a sample I got from somebody, but I haven't opened it yet. I might do an unboxing sooner or later. But an accumulation of different mushrooms will help the immune system. There's Donald Abrams out of California Cancer Center. I think it's the Osler Cancer Center. He is a big fanatic for using mushrooms to boost his patients going through cancer chemotherapy. There is no, I don't know of his protocols for cancer patients, but definitely I don't know that there are any protocols out there for colds and flus. So I just have my 3 that I rely on. I take 1 capsule 3 times a day of each of these. I don't really use tea. I don't put it in my tea because it destroys the tea taste. I use them more for props. But these are my automatics. So this, in addition to the butter burr that I have from Garden of Life Science Immunity, I'll put a link down below for the video. That's more for congestion. This is more for just being sick. So I tag my 3 stooges here, and I do it 3 times a day for like 3 to 4 days until I start to turn the corner. During that time, I usually take it easy, push the fluids. I sometimes will try to take, if I have a nose congestion issue, Nadocromyl sodium or nasal crom helps to unblock the nose. So I use, this is over the counter, but I can't find it anywhere, so I have to order on Amazon. If you rinse your nose out 3 times a day, check out my video on stuffy nose. One of the most popular videos I have. After the rinsing, you do this thing 3 times a day. It keeps the nose open. It also helps to take care of allergy type symptoms. This is awesome. If you have a sore throat, this stuff will usually, so you spray on mushroom. There's a bit of alcohol in here, so there's probably a numbing effect to the back of the throat, but this is another way to indirectly get mushroom compound into your bloodstream. So, but it has a calming effect to the throat if you have a sore throat. one spray every half hour to hour. Can't overdose on it. So it helps with throat pain. This helps with postnasal drip and a stuffy nose, get you to open your nose. You can do this 3 to 4 times a day. I'd say 3 times a day just to make it easy. 3 times a day in addition to before you sleep. That's what you do with the nasal rinsing, that's what you do with this. Chase the nasal rinsing with this. Now if you don't have a stuffy nose, just go with my Three Stooges here. The other thing is always elderberry. I kind of use this for kids. So elderberry, when the kids can't take all this, because they hate to take, some people just hate taking pills. So if I have to compromise, I'll usually go for elderberry for kids. You can, again, you can't really overdose on the elderberry suckers. Elderberry capsules 3 times a day might be a compromise. If you have a little kid that you're worried about dosing, sambucus, I don't have any sambucus here, 3 to 4 times a day with your Tylenol for the kids, but I'm getting into territory. I probably should stick with adults, but that's what I would do if everybody's getting sick. So again, I think that I can't really dive too deep into how mushrooms work or quercetin works or astragalus works. However, this is my concoction of what I do. My 3 that I rely on at all times. I break them out when I get sick. Sometimes I change around where I get the which company I use for quercetin, which company I use for red reishi mushroom. Now this is just reishi mushroom, but red reishi mushroom, which is in here, it usually works a little bit better. Astragalus is awesome. So I think that these are my go-tos. The spray is my usual. I just had this around, but this is just meant to be a marker that mushrooms can be taken advantage of in a great way. 3 times a day if you just wanted one thing. Don't forget, if you do have worsening symptoms, you got to call your doctor or get to an immediate care center, an emergency room. You might actually have influenza. It's going to be coming. Those of you who get the influenza shot, probably good. It has shown that it helps with immunocompromised patients, especially with asthmatics, diabetics. So you should get it because the studies show it does help. I got sick when I got my flu shot, so I'll just leave it at that. However, I think this works a lot better. In addition to practicing a healthy lifestyle, getting good sleep, avoiding passing on the bacteria, and not overeating. So I do think that some people have a lot of problems with coughing, and sometimes you have to use a really strong cough medicine, or you have to use a really strong diarrhea medicine, or you have to use a really strong nausea pill. So if you have sour stomach, cramping stomach, also Pepsid. I don't have that here. I'll probably talk about that when gastroenteritis season comes up. But if you have to rely on that stuff, then call your doctor for the symptomatic relief while you do all this stuff. And even if you get on antibiotics, I would still do this stuff because the antibiotics will just kill bacteria. They won't do anything with your immune system. After you use an antibiotic to kill a crap load of bacteria, good and bad, your immune system still have to continue fighting, and that's where this stuff comes in handy. So I just use this in addition to the antibiotic, because most antibiotics are twice a day usually. 3 times a day would be fine if you just match all this stuff up. Now the only thing you can't take with an antibiotic if you have to resort to an antibiotic is probiotic. You gotta fit your probiotic in somewhere, just give it a couple hours. Otherwise, if you take an antibiotic with a probiotic, you're gonna kill the probiotic by feeding the antibiotic straight to the little guys. So hopefully this gives you a little idea what to do with cold and flu season coming up. Don't take any chances. If you're getting worse, go see your doctor like I said, or go to the emergency room. Otherwise, I will see you at the next tutorial. And again, stay hydrated. The best way to avoid infection is to avoid the people who are sick. Staying back, washing hands, fist bumping, or just avoiding contact would be important. I think one of my patients got a little angry because I didn't shake his hand twice, I believe, but there was a lot of sickness going around the hospital, around the office and hospital. I was very afraid of transferring. I don't have a problem. My immunity is good, but my patient's immunity was a little bit compromised. But anyway, if you have to shake hands, great, do so, but always remember to wash your hands, use alcohol, and before you go on to the next person to meet. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea. If you have any comments on which herbal concoctions you use, I'd like to hear about it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next tutorial.